everybody. Speedy here, Bennu Studio Inks. Back to continue the series Tales from the Drafting Table. Can you believe it? We're on episode 17 now, and we truly are close to the end of, this particular subject, my Wolverine montage. So anyway, let's get after it, shall we? All right, well, anybody who's been following from the beginning can see we've made a lot of progress. If not, well, you can go back and watch some of the other ones. I don't expect you to go back and watch them all because they were pretty rough in the beginning. I've been learning as I go, and I've been improving a lot. And that's the biggest thing for me, is to continue to improve, Getting close to the final. I think this is probably 1 or 2 episodes away from being concluded. I'm pretty psyched about that because I've got a long list of projects that I have coming next for the series. My Aristotle and Plato one, that one excites me a lot. And also I have kind of an alchemical one coming up for the third one. It's a personal alchemical one, Actually, you see me in the intro and the outro. I'm sitting down here in what I call my battle skirts. It's because it's hot. My battle skirts and my tank tops. And yeah, I look kind of a little bit rough maybe. Well, it's because the environment I'm in is definitely super hot. Like really hot. And that kind of brings interesting thing to my mind. The friends that do come by occasionally, but don't stay very long, it's because it's really hot. You know, they they often ask, and I get asked this a lot, whether they've seen my studio or seen what I do or not. Like, you know, how do you keep going? How do you keep doing it? Which kind of brings me to an interesting idea. Yeah, it's hot and it's miserable down here, but there's things that I know that outside viewers don't. The studio and building it has been a long, drawn out process, and I could make the mistake of waiting until I had everything perfect. I could wait a whole lifetime to make everything perfect, and I could take forever to make everything perfect, and I didn't want to do that. I was building the studio so that I could create things and share things with my audience, like Tales from the Drafting Table and stories and so forth. And it's not a simple question as it might seem. How do you keep doing it? How do you do this? Well, one, I know that the situation where it's hot and it's uncomfortable is temporary. I know that it won't be like this a year from now. So I have an incredible amount of patience and endurance. But the other side of it, and I don't think that anybody who's asked this question really thinks it through before they ask the question. They can't do what they see me doing in the conditions I'm currently in because they wouldn't do it. But if they gave it a little bit of thought, they would realize there have been times and places in their life where they wanted something. And to get that something, they had to go through a period of being uncomfortable. And they did it anyway. So it gets back to the alchemy. All is mental. And it also kind of gets back to some other things that I discussed on and off during this first subject, which is this idea of 3 layers of existence. You have a hylic layer, which is purely materialistic and animal in function. So it's your base experience. Things like temperature, discomfort, all of these kind of things. But if you have something that you can become immersed in and or that you want to do so badly that you're willing to endure all of the physical, mental challenges it takes to do something, you'll just do it. I mean, that's my short answer to it is I just do it. My longer answer is it comes down to the three layers of existence. I'm in a Hylic world. I can't do anything about that. We're all in a Hylic world. But there are times where when you're in your headspace, whether you realize it or not, it depends on your level of awareness. But when you're purely in your head, you're thinking, working out a problem, you don't know what your body feels like. You don't know anything about temperature. You don't know anything about the Hylic world when you're in your mind purely. When you're in there, you really are in another place. And, it's a Sijic thing to be in your mind and not feel the Hylic world because you're so deeply inside of your mind. Now, for me, as a very visual and creative type person, I'm especially drawn to the Sijic level of life because everything inside my head, if I will it, is a billion times better than the Hylic world. It's immensely better than the Hylic world. And I'm able to just instantly turn it on and off, no matter where I am. No matter what the conditions in the Hylic world are, I can literally switch the channel on my mind and go into my Sijic world, my inner world, and experience something that there's no words to describe how amazing it is. And in the Sijic world, depending on the power of your experience, your gnosis, your imagination, you can feel things in the Sijic world just as if they were in the Hylic world. You can make worlds to experience and to explore in the Sijic realm of existence. I do absolutely see the world and everything around me and all things through a Trinity filter because it's the truth. Duality is false. Not to say that the appearance of duality is false. I'd interpret things like hot and cold to be polarization. It's just temperature. So they actually fundamentally are not that different from each other. They're the same thing in different degrees. So take temperature, for example. It's either hot, it's either cold, it's either neutral, moderate, temperate. There's a billion different little slices of a singular thing you can describe and you can experience. But it's 100% not dualistic. You are the third part, the observer, the one experiencing it. You are the third part of any duality that may appear. As to say, how many sides does a coin have on it? Many people would knee-jerk reaction, think in a very Hylic way, and say 2. But that's not true. There's technically 3 physical sides to a coin, and then the 4th side. What's the 4th side? The person observing it. It gets to the double split experiment. I gotta get into science. I can't help it. Part of being an artist is being a scientist. The more you know about science, the better an artist you'll be. And you kind of need it. I mean, if you're going to make your own paints, you can make your own paints. Many different types. And then, as I'd said before, Bennu Studio Ink is called ink because I'm an expert in color, in inks, paints. I can mix anything I want. I can match anything put in front of me in any medium. That's science. That's science. That's not woo-woo. That's not supernatural. It's not, quote-unquote, a gift. A gift is something that, to me, is worked for. If you want to be gifted at something, you got to put in the work. If you put in the work, you can develop into becoming very gifted at something to where it's like second nature. So that's how kind of how I would explain how do I do it. I want to do it. I want to do it so bad that I am able to use my mind to turn off any of the discomfort I might be experiencing on the Hylic realm. And for me, it's worth it. So it's hot and it's uncomfortable, and I suffer a bit, but not for very long because the minute I can disappear into my artwork and get immersed, I stop feeling this outside world. So I don't notice the heat. And a perfect example in the beginning of this series, I was doing real damage to the paper because I was sweating, and the sweat on my arms was warping the paper, distorting the paper. And I didn't even recognize it until I went down to look at another part of the artwork and was like, oh man, I'm sweating. So I didn't even know I was. That's the answer. That's how I do it. Or you could make a joke about the Matrix where the kid tells Neo, there is no spoon. Technically, if it's an obstacle and you can't do anything about it, the best thing you can do is forget about it. That's what I do. Um, that's the best way to explain how I do it. And if you think about it, when you want to do something bad enough, you'll put up with all the conditions that are necessary to have what you want. How do athletes become champions? Through a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, and a lot of drive and a lot of study. That's how. Now, how would it be Tales from the Drafting Table if I don't at least slip a story in here? And I will slip one in here that'll give you a perfect example of how I do it. So picture me. I'm like 14, 15. I'm in the back of my parents' pickup truck. We're on a camping trip in New Mexico. We're going up this steep mountain. And I've got a clipboard and a Bic pen. And I'd already drawn all over the surface of the piece of paper I had access to at the time. I didn't have any more space to draw on. And it's a bumpy road and it's bouncy, and I can see the valley down below even though I'm laying flat in the back of the pickup truck. I got bored. So I pulled out a Queen of Hearts out of a playing deck that I had. I flipped the clipboard over onto have the back facing up, and I took that Bic pen and I drew that entire back, filled the entire back with the Queen of Hearts with a Bic pen going up a bumpy mountain. I was bored. Wasn't enjoying being where I was, but it wasn't really comfortable. It was putting a lot of pressure on my joints to be up in the cab with my parents and my brother. So we just had a single cab truck, so I was riding in the back. And it just kind of gets back to that I enjoy being alone also. And I can literally be anywhere. And I don't get bored as long as I have access to the ability to create. And even when I don't physically have access to the ability to create, I can just tune out the outside world, go into my mind and create things in my mind and enjoy those. So I guess you could argue I'm easily entertained, but not like in the lowbrow Hylic type way. I'm easily entertained in the sense that I can just go into that Sijic place, forget about the environment that I'm in, and immerse myself into something interesting. I feed my head for one, so I don't end up lacking any thing imaginatively speaking. I have all kinds of places that I can explore mentally, and I do constantly. I'm in my head more than I'm in the physical world. I've just gotten so accustomed to navigating in the physical world without needing to pay a whole lot of attention to it. Um, but yeah, there's a story for you, and I have testimony that can back it up. I sat there in the back of that truck, laying on my back with a clipboard and a Bic pen, and completely immersed myself in drawing the face card, the Queen of Hearts, on the back of the clipboard. And the bumpiness of the road didn't matter. I learned to adapt to it. Everything in life has a rhythm. Once you find that rhythm, you can adapt to that rhythm. And so there's a story for you about exactly how it works for me. I can just mentally go where I want to go and tune out the Hylic world. And I get my most relief, my most stress relief, and my most relaxation from going into that world. And so, yeah, I built the studio so I could have ultimate access to the Sigic world. And when I'm down here, yeah, the only time that I'm uncomfortable when I'm down here is when I'm not doing something or creating or immersed in something. So there's the answer and a story to go with it. That's how I do it. I just tune this world out and tune in the one I want. I guess the best word for how I do what I do, it's immersion. That's the best like Hylic low layman word I can use for it is that I am able to immerse in whatever it is that I do. And it doesn't even matter how menial it is. I could be washing dishes and have a very zen moment while I wash dishes. The next thing you know, the dishes are done. And I've been someplace cool in my mind. So, immersion. And I'm curious how other people find their way into immersion or if other people even do. I mean, I know I'm not the only one that leaves the Hylic realm for the Sigic realm and goes into my head. I know self talk is a very important thing. So, how you talk to yourself is really, really important. And so, if you're inside your head beating yourself up, you're doing yourself no good. It's not that you shouldn't be critical of yourself, it's just that you shouldn't be critical of yourself 24/7. That's like a mental thing, and you probably need to go see a shrink. Um, there's room inside of your Sigic world for all emotions. So, yeah, you need to be critical of yourself, but you don't need to be doing it full time. And I mean, you need to be in there trying to solve what makes you feel that way. And how you talk to yourself is really important. So part of how I do what I do is I tell myself I can do it. I believe in myself. I reinforce myself. I validate myself. And that's an important thing right there that a lot of people can possibly learn from my experience and what I share is that validation from the outside world has very little value. I mean, there are times when it's important. Say you're working for a client, their satisfaction is your job. All right. Okay then. Well, this concludes episode 17 of Tales from the Drafting Table. I believe we'll have just one more episode left where I will wrap up the two last characters I intend to do on it, put the logo across the bottom, and then we'll end that particular episode with me taking a red pen and a red color pencil, marking up all the corrections and alterations and changes I want to make before I take this to its final, which will be featured in an episode, the opening episode for The Love of Execution. I love the name of that. Anyway, that's being worked on right now, being developed, and I anticipate that in the beginning of August it will be made available. It'll premiere. So anyway, I hope everybody is having a wonderful day wherever you are. I hope everything awesome that you're dreaming of becomes manifest. And, well, that's the conclusion. We'll see you next episode. Speedy out. Bye.